everybody. This is Jamaica. Philly. This is Jamaica Life. She always throws me off. So, I had some discoveries today. First of all, the birds have found my peaches, but there's only like a quarter of them. And I've been eating peaches every day. Every day. I pick at least 12 to 20. So, I found 2 peaches that were pecked on, and then I saw some little bugs on it, because once the birds peck up, a hole in it, then the bugs go to it. But the ones that were pecked, I gave them to the chickens. I don't throw nothing away. One of them I put in the compost pile. Then it hit me. Oh, wait a minute, give it to your birds. But there was another thing that we need to do today. Look at my herbs. They're drying up because this pot is too small. So we're gonna get our chamomile in the ground. I got a couple of things that look bad, but chamomile, most of all, is looking pretty upset with me. So we're gonna replant this in the ground in the garden. I got the water going out there, but you know what? That don't matter. Jamaica's gonna do what Jamaica's gonna do. So we're gonna find a spot out here, most likely on the outside of the garden, and we're gonna get it in the ground. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Oh man, I ate too fast. I feel a little nauseous. So you know what I'm gonna do? I use my herbs. If you ever get a little nauseous, find some basil, especially if you're growing it. You take a couple of leaves off and chew on it. It'll go away. It goes away for me. I don't know if everybody is the same as me, but it disappears. I don't know what basil does. Most people drink basil tea, but I like to taste the basil. Excuse me. Oh, it's strong. So let's go ahead and get our chamomile and put it in the ground. That's one. I think I had 3. I think I have 1 inside. But these 2, they don't look happy. I ain't wasting my time. It's for the Earth Challenge, but nothing says you can't put it in the ground. As a matter of fact, once you put stuff in the ground, in most cases, they do better. They just do. And if I want it later, well, then I just dig it back out. Just like I did this. Look at that. That right there. That's dill. See that? That's dill. As I said, that's dill. That's dill. Don't they look a lot healthier? I know, because they're in the ground. So doesn't seem to be helping the kale any. The bugs are still getting to it, but you can only do what you can do. So I'm gonna find some places and we're gonna put it in, just like we did the dill. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. And it gets prettier than that. Look at that dill. Let's go. Chamomile is beautiful, and I want to see it, so I'm gonna put it right there. Maybe I should get the shovel, but I'm gonna put it right here, right next to the dill. Move that over. I almost guarantee you that this thing, by 2 weeks from now, it'll be huge. We'll get back a little bit. It'll be huge. So here's our chamomile. We're gonna take it out. Look at the roots. This is why it was turning brown. Look at that. It was becoming root bound. So we're gonna loosen that up a little bit, right? See that? I don't mind if I lose a little bit of root. I'm not ripping a bunch of it off, but I'm loosening it up so it can be free flowing, right? We're gonna take this poor baby. We're gonna put it in the ground. I need my shovel. Let me go to get the shovel. Well, I have to move some of this stuff out the way because it's distractions that I can hurt, like my other plant. Put that over there. Move this out of the way, and definitely move this. Okay. There's a worm. All right. Okay, here's our plant. Move the dirt aside. Pull any weeds that are in the way. Right? And then we're going to backfill it. Try to knock the weeds off first before you backfill it though. Crumple your soil. Crumple, crumple. Even if it's clay, like mine. We're still going to pat it down. I didn't want to get on my knees, but I have to. All right. We're using the same soil that we dug out of the hole. No special soil. If you use a different soil, it will not drain at the same rate. And in clay soil, it'll drown your plant. Always use the same soil that you dug out of the ground. I know I repeat myself, but I just wanted to reiterate that because some people think they're doing the right thing by buying potting soil and topsoil for their garden. And if it's not the same consistency and does not drain at the same rate, you'll do more harm than good. Okay, that one is in. He's in, or she's in. Make sure I got it in there. All the air pockets, get the air pockets out. I know she doesn't look good, but after I give her a little bit of fish emulsion and maybe some, I'll just give her fish emulsion. She'll perk right back up. That's one. Yeah, we're gonna get this stuff done. It's a little hot out there. It's a little hot, but we're gonna get it done. I love the way chamomile looks. I just do. So that's our one down there. You know he's locked up and he's still making noise? Death wish. I don't play that much. I'm watering over here. So where else can I see it? I got a nasturtium right there. She don't look like she's doing too well, but she should do better now that I'm watering. I didn't water because it rained, but apparently she didn't get the rainwater. Everybody else did. Where do I want to put her? I don't want to put her over there because this is a vine plant. And over here, I got basil. I had some bell peppers they were looking so bad. Look at that. It looks like when you plug them in the ground, that's where it is. I have some onions. These are just weeds on the outside. These plants are going to get huge, with the exception of the onions. Maybe I'll put her right here. At the beginning, at the one corner, and another corner. I only have 3. I think I know the other one is inside. I got to look at that one too. But these two, they got it. They had to go on the ground. So we're gonna move this one. She's doing a little bit better than her sister was, but that don't mean that the other one won't catch up now that we put it in the ground. And we're gonna mark this corner far enough away from the pepper plants because they get big. Put her right about there. My foot is. Let's go. Okay. So here we go. Moment of truth. See what it looks like. This one's not as bad. See that? Not as bad. Not bad at all. Put that over there. Still gonna knock some of them. I'm gonna disturb it just a little bit on the bottom. Just a little bit. Y'all see that? We're gonna get it in the ground. So I gotta backfill a little bit because it's a little too deep. I'm gonna put that right there. Get this grub out of here. I just saw another grub, or was it the same one? I buried it already. Pull your plant up as much as possible. You don't want to bury any of the foliage. Jamaica. Burying the whole darn plant. Everything don't go under the ground. Just the roots. Pull that up. We're gonna press it down. And that's it. She's in. May you be blessed, baby. May you be blessed and provide blessings. Amen. Amen. Let's take a look around. Here's the chamomile we just planted, right? There's some onions here, some bell peppers that they were looking so bad. As a matter of fact, this one didn't have any leaves on it. Neither did this one. They're coming back. I got some basil here. I didn't plant it near the squash because squash, you know, is gonna take over. That's dill right there. That's dill. It's another piece of basil right there. Basil will grow, I don't know, 3 feet tall, so I'm not too worried about that. Marigolds, of course. Nasturtium, I don't know what was happening with her. Maybe she don't like the soil. From now on, I'll put her in a planter. But this one don't look as bad, even though it's being shaded out. See that one? That's nasturtium underneath there. There's another nasturtium right there. That one looks good too. That's another dill, basil, dill, and then there goes our other chamomile that we're gonna fertilize. Good God, girl. We're gonna fertilize in a minute. We just have to time this thing. I did not water this morning, and my plants were starting to wilt, so I'm just gonna have to pay the cost of losing evaporated water. It's not that hot out here right now, but I am not gonna let my plants go like that, like a punk, after I did all this work. So let me wait till it goes up, and then we go by. Go by. Walk on by. Walk on by. Make believe that you don't see the tears. Just let me breathe. Here we go. Fish plant food. Woo! Not affiliated. That stuff stinks to high heaven. It smells bad. So, I just thought about it. So I'm going to use that fish fertilizer, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing out here in the corner of the yard. Remember those snails I collected? Apparently I decreased their population quite a bit because last time it rained, I came out here and collected maybe 20 or 30 snails. That was it. I think I don't know, either they see me coming and they run for the hills, which I don't think they are, or I picked up so many that they have to work their way from other people's yards now because they're gone here. Where did I put that bucket? I have a bucket where I'm composting the snails. Do you know the slime and the snail? Ouch. You know the slime and the snail. I guess it's over there because I smelled something that was decaying near the house. I didn't mean to put it back over there. Oh, there it is. Do you know the slime and the snail and the shell? All of that can be composted, and it's like a fish fertilizer, similar. Nitrogen, all the good stuff, calcium. So I took the bucket, covered the lid, of course, twice. See that? That's where it is, hiding. So they're in here. Let me hold my nose because it smells bad. And I am composting the snails. I poured some water in here. I'm taking a breath. And there they are, decaying. It smells bad. It smells like decaying. Decay. Close them up so no flies get in there. And I'm gonna use that to water my plants or to fertilize my plants. Philomena, she done snuck off somewhere. Philomena, don't go in them people's yard. Every now and then she gets bad. And then she looks at me like she ain't do nothing. I'm talking to you. The look of shame. Go and sit down somewhere. Don't you knock over my bucket, girl. You think you cute. You're cute right now, but if you went in people's yard, they'd have saw you as a vicious animal. You stay over here. Go ahead and get back in the house. She gets really hot because her coat is black and she attracts heat. So I gotta watch out for her, make sure she doesn't get burnt up. Let's go ahead and get this fish emulsion in this bucket and water these two plants. Move, lady. Stand up straight. You walk like an old woman. Now all we need is a cap full of this. No more. Do not use a whole bunch of it. See that? That's about a gallon of water right there. So nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. That's what that means. Those are the ingredients. So it tells you on the back how to use it also. You don't have to buy this brand, but fish plant food is good. I don't know where they get the fish from, but you know, you can only do so much, right? Might be farm raised fish, for all I know. For all I know. Don't worry about it. Just do it. If you think about it too much, you won't do anything. You get paralyzed in fear. That's why I don't like to watch a lot of that. A lot of people who are, predicting doom and gloom, because after a while you just start panicking. And if you panic, you do one of two things. Fight, which means you go out and you buy a bunch of stuff that you don't need, and then you stuck with it. Flight, which means you retreat into your house and order everything online. That's what I call flight, where you just isolate yourself. Or freeze means you don't do nothing, and a lot of people go into freeze mode. The more terrified you become, the less you do. So don't let anybody tell you, oh, it's all gonna be. There's money in that. There's money in doom and gloom, I'm telling you. But do you really want to thrive or live in that state? And the more you watch it, the deeper you're going to get into the spiral. It's good to, try to do as much as you can, but just do that. Do as much as you can. Don't let anybody put you into debt in order to be, somewhat prepared. And then you stuck with these huge credit card bills for things that you may use if a power outage happens, because that's probably what's going to happen. You're going to need it for power outages, most likely. Other than that, yes, get your water. Water is one of the most important things to get. I take that back. Water, keep water around your house. If you have a pool, fill it up, because you can filter that water. Get a filter too. But as far as running out and spending hundreds, thousands of dollars on canned goods and all that stuff, get enough to sustain you for however long you want to sustain you for. Or garden as much as you can. Now, I got another thing to say. I got so much to say today, huh? Let me go sit down. Gardening is big business. There's money in selling seed, but most of all, there's money in selling products like fertilizers, raised beds. And I agree, raised beds are necessary for some people. But if you are 20 years old and active, why can't you, unless your ground is just trash, which, there are people who have rock land that they cannot grow in. But some people think that the only way they can grow something is in a raised bed. And what gets me, because I have one of them, I'll show you, is that most of the raised beds are like a foot off the ground. You might as well be in ground. You stooping down anyway. And then you have to go and fill those raised beds. And that's money too. Big money. So you're paying what? $50, $70, $80 for what you call a raised bed because you thought that you needed that. And Some people put cardboard on the bottom, and cardboard decomposes, right? So that's good. So your plants are actually in ground. If they're going through the cardboard and they're getting into the ground, why? Unless you have back problems, knee problems, health issues where you cannot get on the ground. That's when I'm gonna start doing it. Once I start feeling, getting down there, and can't get up, I am not gonna let my health go or deteriorate because some company advertised, raised beds that are 4 or 5 feet high, 3 to 4 feet high. Unless I need them. When I need them, that's when I'll do it. I went and bought some because I was like, oh, everybody's doing raised beds. But then I thought back to when I was a kid and I went to school for agriculture. I went to a vocational high school. We did it in ground. Now we use fertilizer, but we did it in ground. And that same land, every year, every class that went through, I think it was freshman summer, between freshman and sophomore year, every class that went from freshman to sophomore in the summer grew on the same plot of land with success. Most people don't need raised beds unless they have health issues, or they have rocky land that they can't grow anything on, or they have land. Most times it's just, if it's rocks, that's the only way I could see it, or sand, or sandy land, or high sand land, like on the coast. Otherwise, you being took. You are being took, just like me. I'm no different. Let me show you. I was putting it together and I just couldn't do it because I thought to myself, Jameer, I bought 3 of them. I bought 3 so-called raised beds. I'm waiting for this water to go by, and I'm mad at myself for doing it. 2 of them are sitting in the box over there, deteriorating in their box. They're metal beds. They are metal beds. Some people put together these wood beds. They fall apart after a while. You got to keep doing it. Keep doing it because they fall apart. They rot. So this is what I bought. And it's only half together because my mind won't let me finish it. Because this thing, what is maybe a foot and a half, 2 feet high, 18 inches. There it is. I got mad at myself. While I was putting it together, I was like, why? Why? Stuff is obviously grown in the ground. Why? Waste of time and money. Not only did I have to spend money on those raised beds, the one that I did, got 3 of them. Got 2 sitting behind the greenhouse on something that I'm probably not going to use for years. Luckily for me, they're metal beds, so they'll be around for a long time. So if I do need them, then I'll be able to use them. But it's only 18 inches off the ground. And what good is that going to do me? I'm getting mad talking about it because I do not like wasting money. And that's what I'm talking about when people put fear, or they show you their beautiful garden. Now if you're into beauty, I'm into beauty too. If you're into beauty and you want everything neat and organized, go ahead and do your mid-raised bed if that's what you want to do. But don't do it because everybody else is. Don't do it. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. The beds are the cheapest part. Filling that joker up is what's going to get you. That's what's going to get you. Not cheap, especially if you get the type that is, the type where if somebody is elderly or can't bend down, you got 3 feet? 3 feet of soil times how many feet is in that raised bed. Trying to get by without getting wet. So, for new gardeners, alert. Try doing it in ground first. Or do the 5-gallon bucket. Even that is less expensive than getting these raised beds. And if you don't put anything, like some people put weed barrier on the bottom, so now your plants are not plugged into the ground at all. You ever heard of grounding? Some people put their feet on the ground to get the energy from the earth. I don't know how true that is, right? But I believe those plants know when they're grounded. And if it can't get through that plastic, you're not getting any nutrients from the ground unless your land is poisoned. You're not getting anything from the ground. And if you don't put the barrier down there, your soil every year is going to get lower and lower and lower because the soil on the earth has a way of reclaiming everything, us to include us. Everything natural will sink right back down into the earth, with the exception of that plastic that you're putting down, because that's what you're putting down, plastic. I don't think that's healthy. That weed barrier, what is that stuff made of? Your plants are picking up some of that stuff. Anyway, I used weed barrier out here. I had to pull it up because after a couple of years, the the mulch that you put on top, it just gets piles it up on top. The weed barrier is going to stay there. If it's that plastic kind, the kind that I just used out there for the watermelons, it's going to stay there. But the more mulch, that's why I didn't put any mulch on there. The more mulch you put on top, that mulch is going to break down and turn into soil. And then after a while, your weed barrier is going to be covered with a half a foot of soil, and then weeds will grow on top of it. So you're defeating the purpose. I got so much to say. So much to say, so little time. Let's go out there and put our fertilizer on here. Okay? So if you don't have the money for a raised bed, try it in a bucket. You don't have to do it in a bucket either because that's plastic. Or just put it in the ground. If you are renting, okay, go ahead and put it in a bucket or put it in a huge planter. Like these tubs. They used to be cheap. I don't think they're cheap anymore. You grow in those things. But buy something that's going to be durable. And if you're renting and you have to get up and skedaddle, because I know when we were a kid, we moved from apartment to apartment trying to get to a better place. My mom just didn't have it like that. She went from, until she found somewhere nice for us to live, we were moving around. And if we were moving around, that right there is better than any raised bed that you're going to have to leave your soil behind. What you going to do? Because raised bed is open on the bottom. This tub, that's what it's called, the laundry tub. You could poke holes in it and drain it. It's a planter. It can turn into a planter. The other stuff is bottomless. So you're going to leave all your soil behind. Then what you're going to do? Put it in trash bags and drag it along with you? No. Why do I fuss so much? I'm Jamaican. I'm putting the flag down. Don't use any raised beds unless you absolutely have to, or unless you need to for medical reasons. That's all I got to say. Let's go ahead and take our don't unsubscribe because I'm being like this, because I'm just looking out for you. We are being taken advantage of as a group of gardeners. Unbeknownst to us, raised beds were meant for the handicapped people, the people who, not handicapped because I'm considered handicapped, believe it or not. I'm considered handicapped. For the people who cannot do it, who cannot bend down anymore. That's what it's for. And for those people who, don't want it to look like this. I think this is beautiful. I think that is beautiful. But my idea of beauty is not the same as your idea of beauty. See that? I like that background. So let's go ahead and go and put some water in. Excuse me. I was going to say holy water. Jesus Christ. Let's go ahead and put some fish emulsion in here and get these plants good and happy. All right. Some people don't practice what they preach. They're making deals with these companies to sell us things and say that, this is this product you'll need this product, and the next thing that's going to go down is going to be some kind of world destruction. And maybe some of them believe it, but there's a lot of them that don't. Don't let them play you like that. Live your life. Don't be afraid. Do what you want to do. Do what's practical for your life. If you can't afford something and you're going to go into a bunch of debt behind something like that, wait. And stop. I mean, there's nothing wrong with listening sometimes, but when you start binging these end of the world people, there's a lot of them. And they're getting a lot of views, and that's why they're doing it, because they're being paid to tell you doom and gloom. And they're making a lot of money A lot of money preaching doom and gloom. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God, for making me look at it. Because sometimes you got to pivot and look at it from the backside and see, you think to yourself, why? Why? Why are they saying to do that? And genuine people are few and far in between. Money is the root of all evil, and they're making money, whether it be because of their channel or because they're being backed by companies and telling you to go and do this and do that. Some of them believe it. Some of them believe it. And now, there was a time when we thought that people who were prepared were, belonged in a special place. We call it the fifth floor in New York. Belong on the fifth floor of Creedmoor. Creedmoor is y'all look it up. Creedmoor is a place for, people who are not well mentally. But a lot of them, we were all saying they were, oh, you just something wrong with you. You always do. And then the pandemic hit and they turned out to be right. And I know that it's not it's probably not going to happen, but it may happen again. But if you're living, you should worry about what's going on today in your life. Don't put yourself in a bunch of debt with a bunch of stuff that you can't use and don't need today for 10 years from now, because guess what? That stuff is going to be outdated by then. And I have to say, some of the stuff that was made way back in the day outlasts the stuff that is made today. And I've heard people say, if you don't buy it right now, the prices are going to double. And to some extent, yes. But if you put it on your credit card for 25% plus or 29.99%, man, they making a killing. The credit card company making a killing on you. Killing. You buying stuff that you can't afford. What did my mama say? Bare pocket, champagne taste. You got a bare pocket, you drink beer. Don't buy no champagne if you can't afford it. That's it. I'm sorry, guys. I had to learn the hard way. I'm going to give you another story. When I was in my 20s, and I remember this is sister girl. My husband and I were in debt. We had bought this nice fancy car, right? It was not beet red. It was cherry red, a sports car. After we paid the car payment and the insurance, we had like $100 to live off of. That is it. Maybe $100. Then we had furniture payments and all this stuff. We were struggling. And we had credit cards. Initially, the credit cards we didn't want to be bothered with us, because if you don't have any credit history, it's just like having bad credit. It's very hard to start establishing credit. So we got a bunch of credit cards, right, to try to establish credits. Well, we used them, right? Got down to the point where, man, we couldn't do it no more. So we went to the bank, and I'll never forget her sitting behind her desk. She said, I'll give you a consolidation loan. I will. I need you to bring all your credit cards in here. We need to cancel all of them with the exception of one emergency credit card that has a low balance on it. And we're going to get rid of all of these credit cards, and I'll consolidate all of your debt into one low payment until you all could get out of this thing. She saved us. We were in trouble, basically starving, both of us. But we were driving a nice red fancy car. Couldn't afford the gas. Barely could afford to go get to work in that car. It was a 2-seater. Man, I remember them days. So she got us together. She said, did you cancel them all? She didn't make us cancel them in front of her. And she said, okay, give them to me. She handed us the scissors, said, chop them off. And don't reactivate them. Deactivate all of these accounts. She comes out, she said, now don't, and she said, next time we are not going to help you. What was that? That was Fort Knox. A Fort Knox bank. That's all I remember. I remember that lady. I had just turned 20. We were both upset. We weren't fighting with each other, but man, we didn't know what to do. Don't be like that. Learning the hard way. Don't get stuff you can't afford. And I think that at that time I was like, no, we gotta pay him. We gotta pay him because that's stealing. That's how I think. If you don't pay your credit cards, if you don't pay your bills, it's basically stealing to me. My mama was a single parent, and I never remember our phone being cut off or electricity being cut off because she didn't pay, or the landlord bamming on our door asking for rent. She paid. She worked like a dog. I'm telling you, that woman was gone before dawn. She was gone before dawn. She'd wake us up. My grandma, after all, we moved with my grandma. She'd wake us up and it was dark when she left the house. And when she got back home, it was dark again. Never had anything cut off. Never. I remember her crying a couple of nights because she could barely afford to pay her bills. But, man, don't get into that situation. Or if you are in that situation, try to find a way out. It's not going to be easy, though. Anyway, this is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I thank you guys for being with me, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.